Hey guys, welcome to the coreross channel. So Ubisoft has just released a behind the scenes of the making of Operation White Noise, and it shows really cool artwork, really beautiful stuff, and gives us a glimpse of what the operators could have looked like and how they kind of developed over time. And it shows us some other stuff from the past as well. So first up, we've got our new Korean attacker. In this one, she looks pretty much how she does in game, a little bit different, but you can see that she's almost finalized here. We can see three different versions of her here. I gotta say, I kind of like the first one the best. I think that looks really cool. But if we move forward, we start to see different developments. So here we can see a bit more of the attacker looking a little bit different. And we can also see some early developments of the defender as well. And you can see that mask really playing a major part in the art side of things. And we get a little bit of different variations too here. Loving the different variations in color and all that, and hope we actually see some of these like as uniforms. But we get to see some even earlier development. So of course, this is the attacker again, but completely different. I'm actually really digging this. It's kind of got a Borg feel, but it looks really good. I love it. It's a bit more, I feel it's a bit more tactical than what we actually have in the game. And then if we actually go forward to the defender, he looks entirely different, and I'm glad this isn't how he looks in game. I think the way he does look in game looks incredible. This, like, he would totally fit into like the Blade Runner universe really well, but not Rainbow, I think. But I love the artwork. Like, I absolutely love this kind of stuff. Moving forward, we get to see the attacker again, completely different look. Again, I would say you could totally see her in Blade Runner. And again, the artwork is gorgeous. Now we get to see the South Korean attacker, this time with a lot more computer hardware on her. Interestingly, she's holding a vector as well, which is curious. But this was probably before they picked out what weapons they were going to have. And also, a vector would have been a defender gun too. Although, could have been quite cool if that had ended up being an attacker gun as well. But probably wouldn't have been a great thing. But I do love how she looks. The left hand one where she's holding the repels, I think her uniform and her gadgets and everything looks seriously cool. Very tactical, very believable, and just seriously sweet. The one on the right, I don't know, a little bit less tactical, but actually looks more like reality, like a little pocket computer there, a couple of gadgets, lots of magazines, but also kind of futuristic as well. Now this one, a Vigil, looks sensational. He looks badass, like way more badass than he looks in game. I love that mask that he's got there. Like the one in game's really plain. That just looks amazing. I'm loving the detail in that. He's got two massive knives as well on his belly there, which look deadly as hell. And then we get to see three different versions of him as well. And of course, the right hand side looks pretty spooky. Kind of looks like he came from a sci-fi game. The one in the middle, look at that mask. Like, woo, that is some scary stuff. We get to see even more development. You can see how much time they put into developing these characters, how many different variations they've got. And again, that mask is playing a major part, which I actually don't think it does in the game. It's quite plain so far on the uniforms that we've seen him with. It'll be interesting to see, obviously, what they do in the future. But you can see they really were playing with that mask quite a bit by then. And then we get to see like even earlier development, I guess, of our defender and going through all kinds of different looks, different masks, different uniforms, some crazy looking stuff. And I like where they ended up being. Some of these look a little bit weird. I'm kind of happy they ended up where he is now. Right now, I think he's one of the best looking defenders. Really liking his look. Looks scary as hell. This one here is actually really close to what we've got in game. Very similar mask. You can see again they're playing with that mask, different stripes and stuff on it. Again, you can see they had some melee weapons on him. So I do wonder if he was supposed to be a bit more melee based, perhaps. Maybe he was supposed to have a silent takedown or something. Bit more body armor in this one. Still cool as hell though. Like absolutely loving it. Now from this one we can actually see we've got Zofia on the left here with long blonde hair, and you can see the reference material they're using to create this up here. So probably just stuff off Google Images and that. and you can see what they were kind of going with. And yeah, she appeared to have blonde hair, which we're going to get to soon with Ella, because we actually get to see Ella soon too. And right hand side we have our Korean attacker again, and yeah, loving the looks of those characters. So here's Zofia, very close to what we have in game, like super close. Her glasses are definitely very different, but the pouch placement for our grenades there is exactly the same as what we have in game. The hat, exactly the same as what we have in game, so that's really cool. And you can see the different angles of her. Love the artwork. This would have taken a long ass time to make. Now, what I was talking about with the blonde hair, here is a little picture of Ella in early concept, and she has the blonde hair. And if you remember, when we actually got a leak of Ella about a month before Blood Orchid, she had blonde hair. She pretty much looked exactly like this piece of concept art. So that must have been relatively early development when she was first modeled in game, probably. And we get to see them here doing a bit more concept art for Zofia and Ella. So it looks like they really, like they actually say in this video that they were building Ella and Zofia pretty much at the same time. So they had this whole idea of the sisters right off the bat, and they were creating this idea. And it does look like they were gonna all have both of them, and it does look like they were both gonna have blonde hair, whereas they don't in game. Obviously, Ella has green hair, so we don't know her natural hair color, and Zofia has brown hair. And you get a good sense of the different depths they went with the character development. So it's really cool. I'm going to leave you guys with the video that actually... So I'm going to leave you guys now with the full video. There's some really interesting things, and they seem to be really building on story-based elements as well into all the characters, which is great. Anyway guys, thanks for watching.
With White Noise, the objective is have a season that's about intel, that's about communication, that forces communication through those operators that you meet.
Well, Dokebi is a name from Korean mythology, and it's actually a type of goblin. And it's a goblin that has the ability to inhabit inanimate objects.
To achieve an operator, we are making at least 40 different iterations of a single character, and each time it's, we're gonna keep this boot, we're gonna keep this head. The glasses, it's something that we wanted to keep on the character. You know, it's not super tactical. She wants to keep her own signature on her and to show people that she's the hacker.
And we really wanted to have an operator that play with sounds as an intel or counter-intel. She is a heavy intel operator, and we just wanted to bring that back into Siege.
Yeah, he's really near me.
Vigil is a great, intel destroyer. Information in the game is relevant like 2 or 3 seconds stop. Vigil, with his ability, makes information irrelevant from second 1.
Yeah, Vigil, honestly, it was all about the mask. I think we did 50 different other iterations on the mask.
I looked at it and I was like, oh, okay. For me, the mask came out as being more than just a ballistic mask. It was more than a look. Immediately, the backstory started filling in.
You never saw me coming.
Dokebi and Vigil represent kind of a way that we want to start doing things with our characters.
When you play a game, you always imagine a story. You can't help yourself. It's almost like a human nature. You want to create stories between those characters. You can see that some of them just play really well together.
We're crossing a line we used to not cross. And I think it's really interesting because everybody is enjoying it. Because we're not constrained anymore into a specific neutral counter-terrorist unit. Now we're really creating a new character with a huge personality.
And it's the same thing with all the operators. We want to create more and more layers to them to really create some complex and multi-layered characterization so that it explains the way that you feel when you play them. Ever since that we had Ella in mind, we were already designing Zofia. We were really invested in creating that interaction between two sisters who have to deal with a legacy that is bigger than themselves.
Actually, the very first iteration we made on her, she was throwing all these gadgets, these grenades, actually by hand. It lacked personality. When we got back to the simple idea of having a grenade launcher, we immediately found it like to have a much more personality on screen, and also it opened for the possibility of having this bounciness on the concussion grenades. We really wanted to find this gameplay that doesn't really exist yet, this depth in terms of okay, how creative can you get when it comes to making it bounce and not exposing yourself but reaching a very specific point. We felt like it started to get really, really fun.
There's a cookbook for Siege. We know exactly how to build a Siege map. What we did with Tower was we made the inside and outside one. There's no differentiation because you play normal maps, you go outside the map, and then there'll be a warning if you're a defender. There'll be a warning saying, hey, you're outside the map, you'll be detected. In this, there is none of that.
We try to bring something different, and that's actually the case with Tower. We went a bit further. We had our Siege formula, and we wanted to have something super new, and we kind of try, like, coming in a nice in between. And I think we always try to bring something new, but we're having our foundation of what makes a good Siege map.
The rappel with the verticality, they were like, when people were exposed to that, they were like, whoa, like, because it really does give that feeling.
It's a nice interaction with the players where they push the maps to their limits, and it forces us to push our limits even further. So we learn from them and we kind of adapt.
4 last operators standing.
We feel like there are many territories of Siege when it comes to the specific grammar of how Siege plays, what the round looks like, what are the different phases of the round, what do you do when you're alive, what do you do when you're dead. There's a lot of territories in there that we haven't explored that much. I'm very excited about a lot of things that we're working on right now. Yeah, that's very exciting for me, is that the idea that we're not just repeating ourselves inside the same boundaries, not just creating new operators, but also trying to expand the global grammar and vocabularies that they're using to try and make this gameplay even more complex and deep.
I got one. One more. Oh, I got it.